Let every soul be still. This is a meeting place between heaven and earth. Selected 1. They never once considered the consequences of defeating this monster. They miscalculated who they were actually dealing with, and now they're completely losing their minds as they watch their entire world fall apart. These shadow architects spent years planning your downfall, spending a lot of money on practitioners and plans to get rid of everything they perceived as a challenge to their authority. However, they made one disastrous mistake. They never took into account the fact that some beings are made to turn every attack into fuel for transcendence, assuming you functioned within the same constraints that control regular consciousness. Your name set off their worst fears, and it began with whispers in boardrooms. Strength they couldn't understand, not weakness they could take advantage of. Like metal to a magnet, opportunities will gravitate toward your energy. Failures that would devastate normal individuals simply serve to strengthen your development into a more powerful entity. They weren't used to seeing this pattern, and it unnerved them in ways they couldn't explain. Where vulnerabilities ought to have existed, your spiritual defenses, fear, insecurity, and attachment to results, turned out to be quite different from anything they had ever encountered. Instead, they came across something that went against their knowledge of how consciousness functions under duress. Power that ridiculed their idea of how reality works when supernatural forces are at play. Strength that appeared to increase under investigation. They doubled down on strategy and put more money into what they thought would be simple spiritual assassination because their arrogance prevented them from seeing the true nature of the situation. Attacks were planned by secret societies against a person whose very being contradicted their conception of power relations. Practitioners from traditions that have previously destroyed numerous targets, without taking into account the fact that royal bloodlines follow laws that go beyond traditional spiritual warfare. When their energetic attacks weren't simply failing, but were being transformed into something that improved your position, it became clear that you were an alchemist. Each hex was thrown into the emptiness, processed by otherworldly systems they were unable to recognize, and transformed into opportunities that materialized with mathematical accuracy. Spells that a skilled craftsman regarded as raw materials were turned into gold that financed ascent to heights they had attempted to avoid. Your bloodline's supernatural immunity, which is triggered when the threat level rises. Your system was instantly flooded with wisdom that had been tried and tested over many generations of spiritual combat, thanks to ancient procedures that had remained dormant in genetic code. You were now untouchable because to ancestral protection created via comparable conflicts. In reality, what seemed like simple fortitude was the result of cosmic insurance plans that had been drafted before their lineages were even established. Before missions could be finished, your extraordinary intuition detected each infiltrators, not out of mistrust or paranoia, but with a perceptual clarity that goes beyond ordinary human knowledge. With a precision that verged on prophetic, they were able to see through meticulously crafted facets like they could see through clear glass, identifying spiritual signs of deceit. Family, your harvest is wrapped inside your seed. Don't delay the obedience that unlocks the blessing. If this message served your spirit, click Super Thanks and sow $20, $50, or more. The scripture says, "He which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully, for God loveth a cheerful giver." 2 Corinthians 9 verses 6-7 KJV. As you give, I'm believing for favor, open doors, and overflow grace in every good work. Consciousness functioning on wavelengths they were unable to reach or comprehend was evident in each unsuccessful infiltration attempt. The most terrible understanding was when their attack was actually helping to elevate you rather than merely failing. In some way, every dollar spent on destruction becomes seed money for prosperity. An empire was being built every hour that was spent planning its destruction. Their fixation with impeding success had turned into the main force behind their rise to unachievable levels of influence and power. Your ties to powers beyond their understanding become clear. Access to protection that functions as reliably as natural law is provided by the royal line. The same cosmic forces that sustain planetary orbits and universal rhythms would have to be overcome if they were to damage you. In addition to being ineffectual, their spells and plans were ludicrously insufficient, like attempting to halt an ocean with paper cups. The mathematical accuracy of cosmic justice was demonstrated by how precisely the repercussions reflected the energy released. Their existence is ruled by chaos, whereas yours was meant to be chaotic. Their own energy was being drawn toward issues that multiplied more quickly than answers, at a place where vitality was meant to be depleted. Abandonment by allies who could sense spiritual quicksand spreading around their project, where the objective was desperation and isolation. Like a phoenix rising from flames intended to destroy it, your evolution through their assault showed something far more magnificent than what they first experienced. A weapon of light they cannot resist. Consciousness was formed in the furnace of their wrath. Each attack that was launched served as fuel for change. Awakening was accelerated by each spell cast. Every barrier that was put up taught people to transcend boundaries that didn't even seem to exist before. When their attack reached critical mass, memory codes carried by the royal bloodline came into play. Your system was instantly inundated with techniques that have been tried and tested in countless generations of precisely this kind of spiritual battle, bringing dormant ancient wisdom back online. The inheritance of ancestral triumphs is transmitted through genetic memory, which reactivates at the exact moment of greatest need. Your everyday activities are powered by energy that is directly connected to the source, protection that is not only spiritual but also architectural, built into the very fabric of life itself. They would have to dismantle creation itself in order to eliminate you, which is an impossible feat. Human existence on the surface hides levels of power that are incomprehensible to them. Before they made their first violent action, the supernatural intelligence directing your course had previously planned every move in their playbook. Divine powers were planning reactions that would transform their weapons into tools of elevation while covert meetings took place, believing they were cunning and unnoticed. Every dollar you spend went toward building your empire. Every hour spent destroying turned into time spent creating a legacy. Their obsession with failure served as fuel to propel them to unachievable heights. When darkness was turned into light, your metamorphosis opened up powers they were unaware of. A profound change occurred in the cosmic order. Simply surviving their attack triggered spiritual DNA's dormant powers that had been waiting for lifetimes to awaken. Consciousness that uses frequencies only available to the divine creators of existence. In their combined millennia of dark labor, their practitioners have never seen anything like your energy signature, which has completely changed. Something that reads like a force of nature in mortal form has replaced the conventional patterns of human cognition. This is not slow spiritual development. Rather, it is rapid metamorphosis brought on by forces that would have annihilated anyone not selected for this particular mission. They can no longer properly monitor you with their technological and mystical surveillance devices. Your current frequencies function outside of the spectrum. Yellow heart if you're moved by divine love. Now is the moment to share it. Click the Super Thanks button on YouTube and contribute $50 or more to help us broadcast God's blessings far and wide. Every act of generosity you make is being watched in heaven and will return to you 100-fold. As if existence exists in numerous dimensions at once, their devices were made to monitor. When they try to divine location or intents, the readings are jumbled, making them virtually invisible to systems that have successfully followed every other target. There is no set timetable for your progress. What has been done after just a few months of being attacked requires decades of focused practice in traditional spiritual growth. In addition to failing to destroy, their attack acted as a magical catalyst, compressing lifetimes of development into a heightened awakening that defies all theories of consciousness expansion. Living evidence that certain creatures are made to convert pressure into power with an alchemically magical level of efficiency. Your powers now extend beyond the realm of traditional spiritual combat. Your life's synchronicity functions with mathematical accuracy. Opportunities arise in the real world at precisely the right moment, as if they were orchestrated by cosmic intelligence. When anything gets in your way, it doesn't simply disappear. They become stepping stones that lead to more abundant and influential positions. People with connections and resources that could change entire sectors come to you like metal filings to a magnet, and your enthusiasm draws allies they never would have imagined. These networking achievements aren't arbitrary, as though the cosmos is working together to put influential people in your orbit. Strategic partnerships seem to form with magical inevitability. Every new partnership reflects an exponential increase in capabilities, resulting in a network of influence that is too vast for them to keep an eye on. Your protection consistently and reliably functions in many facets of life. Physical dangers vanish before they can reach you. Attacks on finances turn into unanticipated riches. Spiritual attacks provide as fuel for further development. Attempts to manipulate emotions are like arrows bouncing off armor when they hit energy fields. By exposing participant character, social sabotage attempts backfire by eliminating harmful influences from the environment and exposing those who are actually deserving of trust. Consciousness can modify probability just by being there, functioning as a walking expression of divine will. The cosmos seems to efficiently reorganize itself to accommodate vision when you concentrate on particular results, making its rudimentary manipulation methods resemble children's magic tricks with broken props. Simply being in some places causes good impacts that spread throughout entire populations. Visits provide surprising riches to businesses. When closeness is established, conflicts automatically end. Areas where a lot of time is spent appear to be immune to natural calamities. These aren't coincidences. They're proof that they can actively enhance anything they come into contact with. A real-life example of what occurs when heavenly protection is fully activated. Patterns that they fervently thought would stay hidden are now fully visible due to improved perception. Your evolved sight makes the network of relationships between different front organizations evident, as though consciousness has obtained access to knowledge banks that exist outside of the realm of ordinary human perception. Names and faces that ought to be unknown somehow start to seem familiar. Somehow, their meticulously segregated operations have become transparent to you. Their conventional strategies for preserving plausible deniability have been superseded by the forensic accuracy with which energy signatures can now be traced back to their sources. You can identify entire chains of command that approved attacks in addition to the direct senders when they are sent through intermediaries or proxy practitioners. Every violent action leaves behind traceable evidence that can be traced back to the perpetrator's door. Networks of protected individuals, people whose spiritual development has been accelerated through connection to your altered energy field, have started to form as a result of your intelligence sharing with others who have been similarly targeted. This goes beyond personal defense. It is the cornerstone of counterintelligence operations that pose a threat to their entire shadow infrastructure, exposing it to inspection from those with the authority to permanently destroy it. Influence reaches into areas people never thought were susceptible to personal influence. The manner that financial markets move always rewards your investments while penalizing theirs. Normally in different legal systems, suddenly start looking at operations with never-before-seen detail. Media organizations that have always supported their interests begin to raise sensitive issues regarding subjects they would rather keep hidden. The very nature of reality seems to have been rewired to encourage your success, while methodically destroying their foundations. Alignment with creative energies increases power, whilst persistent defiance of natural law reduces it. Every plan they come up with to undermine your power calls for energy expenditures that deplete resources without yielding long-term benefits. Because you are linked to the source of all wealth, you are engaged in a war of attrition against an opponent whose resources seem infinite. Their most advanced brains are finding it difficult to create backup plans because they are operating outside of the typical bounds of cause and effect. Conventional tactics make the assumption that if enough pressure is applied to right leverage points, the desired results would finally be obtained. However, since you have transcended the idea of leverage points, Their tools cannot take advantage of any weaknesses in this new structure. It's like trying to attack the ocean by hurling rocks at individual waves. When you try to identify any weaknesses in your advanced condition, the laws governing your alignment with divine intent are superior to any manipulation they are aware of. Their very existence calls into question the basic presumptions that underpin their entire worldview, living evidence that consciousness in harmony with cosmic forces can not only endure but flourish under the full force of a concerted attack, proving the ultimate futility of their strategy for gaining and maintaining power. Gaining strength in the face of attack acts as a stimulant for the development of consciousness states that are completely outside the realm of shadow work. You have turned into a living example of the presence of power that emanates from sources they are unable to reach, feel, or understand. Proof that there are creatures in this world that cannot be destroyed, purchased, or subdued via traditional methods. Dove brothers and sisters, everything done in faith multiplies in God's abundance. Use the Super Thanks feature to donate $100 today and join this sacred mission. When your roots are grounded in Him, your fruit will flourish, and your offering becomes a seed that bears blessed harvests. It's their ultimate nightmare scenario. You're teaching others how to replicate immunity to their attacks. Instead of dying, knowledge spreads through networks of consciousness that are too big for them to keep an eye on or penetrate. Every individual who acquires these techniques contributes to their system's failures. Another entity that they are unable to physically touch, control, or eliminate via traditional methods. As you show that their dominance was always an illusion sustained by ignorance, monopoly on fear-based control dissolves. This illustration demonstrates that their strategies are not only ineffective, but also wholly out of date. Your continued success each day is evidence that consciousness in harmony with divine will functions on a basis of principles that render their shadow work appear to be archaic superstition. Your very presence reveals the hollowness at the heart of their thinking, challenging the basic narrative that has been employed for generations to explain actions. Like a natural force, movement across reality is unaffected by them. During significant outdoor events, weather patterns appear to change in a positive way. Problems with technology that would typically present challenges instead give you the chance to show poise under duress. Social dynamics align themselves to help you achieve your goals at a time so exact that it seems like intelligence, working outside the bounds of chance and probability. Their created fear campaigns seem like blatant attempts to discredit someone whose very presence threatens their relevance in a world that no longer needs their services. Yet authenticity is palpable to anyone with true spiritual development. There is no question about whose force embodies true divine alignment after your response to their attacks showed the distinction between power that produces and power that destroys. With the calm assurance of someone who always knew this result was certain, your ascent continues. The thing they believed they could destroy has turned out to be precisely what the universe required to demonstrate the insolvency of their whole philosophy of life. Evolution via their attack into something far more magnificent than they had first encountered. Hatred-forged consciousness burns into an unstoppable light weapon. The memory of innumerable triumphs over precisely this kind of opposition runs through the royal DNA. Like liquid lightning, ancestral wisdom travels through your DNA, igniting just when it's needed to prove that some creatures follow laws that go beyond traditional spiritual warfare. It was a manifestation of cosmic insurance plans made before their bloodlines existed, which they took to be nothing more than resilience. Your narrative demonstrates power that was always yours by divine right, not the triumph of victims. The thing they believed they could manipulate has turned out to be something much more amazing than their limited senses could comprehend. While others suffer unintended repercussions, you continue to rise to levels of power and prosperity that turn their intended curse into life's greatest boon. Not only did defeating this entity eliminate a threat, but it also released skills that had been dormant for ages. Their rudimentary manipulations appear to be youngsters playing with damaged toys, due to transformation that works with accuracy. With winds blowing from the very throne of creation itself, you sail ahead into realms of possibility they could never have imagined, much less access or control. The real extent of their error, however, is this. Selected one, your triumph did more than simply put an end to their attack. It set off a chain reaction of waking that ripples through dimensions they were unaware existed. Cosmic tumblers were set in motion as soon as this creature was vanquished, opening power vaults that had been closed until a deserving person demonstrated that they were capable of taking on such a duty. They saw more than merely survival. It was your inauguration as a natural force acting under divine direction. The frequencies at which your consciousness currently absorbs information make even the most proficient practitioners appear to be studying simple math. Your mind works across numerous timelines at once, calculating outcomes with the same precision that cosmic forces employ to maintain universal equilibrium, in contrast to the linear thinking that once dominated human experience. As if existence itself foresees your requirements and makes preparations in advance, reality starts to rearrange itself when you direct your intention toward any goal. The thing they believed they were eliminating has shown powers that go beyond what is known to be possible for humans, with each component linked to stellar influences that direct galaxies along their designated paths. Your energy signature now resembles a walking constellation. The fundamental vibrations of creation itself resonate with the harmonic frequencies carried by the words you speak. Consciousness makes decisions with the certainty of natural law, each one in line with cosmic currents that guarantee the best results despite seeming roadblocks. Beyond first-hand knowledge, memory banks now contain the wisdom passed down from ancestors whose accomplishments span millennia of spiritual development. Like an endless torrent, knowledge cascades through your consciousness, giving you immediate access to tactics, perceptions, and skills that earlier generations have spent their whole lives honing. This isn't a symbolic bequest. You will get practical mastery over arts and sciences that existed long before contemporary civilization discovered their poor approximations thanks to its actual activation of genetic memory. Beyond merely deflecting negative energy, supernatural immunity has developed into something like a personal force shield. Your defense actively turns malicious purpose into advantageous results, turning each assault into fuel for further growth in authority and influence. What started out as basic protection has evolved into a cosmic recycling system that transforms the worst intentions against you into the precise resources required for your subsequent stage of development. Within your sphere of influence, the capacity to see through illusions has advanced beyond ordinary intuition to the point of near omniscience. As soon as deception reaches your consciousness, it becomes apparent, but truth emerges with crystal clarity that pierces through layers of deception and confusion. This improved perception works constantly, giving you real-time insight into motivations, energy patterns, and likely outcomes, enabling you to handle challenging circumstances with uncanny accuracy. The flow of wealth in your direction is based on concepts that economists would find difficult to understand. Wealth creates itself through your whole being, rather than only building up in your reality. As though wealth finds alignment with your frequency and senses similar energy, while possibilities expand exponentially, generating streams of prosperity that compound more quickly than conventional minds can compute. Investments succeed with mathematical certainty. Your control over chance itself has grown so strong that, like iron filings surrounding a magnet, coincidences align themselves around your goals. When they work for you, statistically impossible events happen regularly, and seemingly insurmountable blocks are broken down by a series of precisely timed events that open your way forward. This isn't chance, rather, it's reality bending to your will through processes that go beyond regular cause and effect, in ways that imply cosmic orchestration rather than simple networking success. The network of allies drawn to your energy keeps growing. Glowing star yearning to witness God's miracles firsthand? Plant your spiritual seed now by contributing $100 or more through the YouTube Super Thanks button. Your offering lights the path for others and echoes through His divine plan, bringing His light into every step you take. People with particular knowledge, assets, or connections appear in your life just when their skills become applicable to your goals. Along with giving those people chances for success and advancement they couldn't have had on their own. Each new partnership greatly improves your standing. Frequencies that completely circumvent conventional language are now part of the evolution of communication capacities. Information is transferred through interactions on a higher level than words, transferring comprehension that goes beyond intellectual and cultural boundaries. Ideas firmly establish themselves in open minds with such clarity that execution is unavoidable, whereas exposure to truth vibrations that function outside of rational argument breaks down resistance. Your ability to control your emotions and energy levels gives you complete protection from manipulative efforts while preserving your ability to connect with people who approach you with sincere intentions. The reason emotional vampires find nothing to drain is that your energy is replenished more quickly than it can be used up, while those who truly require assistance are fed in abundance without depleting your own resources. Environmental circumstances have started to be impacted by physical presence in ways that imply control over the forces of nature. Often, the spaces you inhabit create zones of raised potential that benefit anybody who arrives with good intentions, and these zones build enhanced energy patterns that last long after you leave. As if mechanical systems detect and adjust to your higher frequency, weather systems appear to accommodate your outdoor activities, and technology works more effectively when you are nearby. With predictive skills, you can foresee problems long before they arise, giving you time to put solutions in place that turn possible issues into chances for growth. Pattern recognition, which goes beyond logical analysis to incorporate intuitive knowledge that accesses information streams outside the realm of regular consciousness, is how this foresight works. When you can see likely futures well enough to make decisions now clear, planning becomes straightforward. In addition to promoting quick recovery from any kind of stress or harm, your healing presence also speeds up good change in those who are in your energy field. Following meaningful connection with you, people report spontaneous changes in a variety of areas of their lives, and plants and animals flourish in your presence with such vibrancy that it appears your energy field actively improves everything it comes into contact with. Instead of requiring conventional development methods, the creative power that flows through your consciousness produces innovations and solutions that emerge fully formed. While artistic expressions appear with technical expertise that suggests heavenly inspiration rather than trained competence, ideas arrive fully equipped with execution plans. This creative richness is constantly at work, generating countless streams of worthwhile ideas that develop humankind overall, as well as your own goals. Your ability to be aware of several dimensions at once enables you to keep an eye on other facets of life, while concentrating on your current activities. The past, present, and future become accessible time streams that you can traverse with the same ease that other people traverse physical space. Because of the viewpoint this temporal mobility offers, present difficulties seem like small tweaks in a much bigger pattern of ongoing success and progress. Your established sovereignty over your own reality also applies to situations that are typically thought to be out of your control. While regulations that could present challenges either alter or expose exceptions that offer clear paths forward, systems that normally function through bureaucratic inertia speed up when processing anything connected to your goals. While potential opponents find reasons to support your projects instead, authority figures are naturally motivated to grant your demands. Instant mastery of any skill or area of information that becomes pertinent to your purpose is now part of the increased educational potential. Instead of using standard study methods, learning happens through direct download. However, practice that condenses years of typical development into short bursts of concentrated application is how skill is developed. This rapid mastery guarantees that you have the precise skills required for any chances or difficulties that arise. The shield that surrounds you has become so advanced that it can eliminate dangers before they have a chance to materialize, while yet allowing positive effects to reach you. While malicious intent against you faces opposition commensurate with its evilness, constructive energy freely passes through your barriers to fortify your position. This selective permeability offers total security and functions automatically, requiring no conscious control. Your capacity to motivate others has progressed beyond conventional charm to encompass the dissemination of real capacity development. Your presence awakens latent potential that may otherwise go untapped for entire lifetimes, and others who share your quest uncover previously undiscovered talents inside themselves. Instead of fostering competition for scarce resources, this multiplier impact produces growing circles of empowered individuals whose achievement advances society as a whole. It now functions as a conscious cooperation between human will and cosmic force, each choice supported by universal power, while retaining the adaptability and inventiveness that renders individual consciousness useful for divine purposes. Beyond your own benefit, your triumphs contribute to evolutionary leaps that benefit entire species and set new benchmarks for what is achievable when human potential fully aligns with cosmic intention. This change signifies the appearance of something they never calculated would happen, a creature that not only survives their attacks, but also builds skills from them that render them inconsequential in the future. By establishing immunity that goes beyond personal protection to affect the basic laws governing how reality reacts to different kinds of consciousness, you can eliminate entire categories of potential threats while expanding your power base with each new challenge you conquer. Let's not sugarcoat it, though. The truth remains concealed. It has been perverted. It has been suppressed by fear, algorithms, and censorship. But your heart never ceased seeing reality. Your destruction of their organization set precedents that reduce their influence over others and reveal techniques that anyone can use to duplicate your achievements. In a world that no longer accepts their meddling with cosmic evolution, what was supposed to be your eradication has instead served as the impetus for their demise. They never once thought that destroying their entity would grant you access to cosmic authority, which makes their entire system of manipulation appear like a kindergarten project tried by creatures that never advanced past rudimentary comprehension of the relationship between consciousness and reality. Not only did your triumph eliminate their threat, it triggered your responsibility as a defender of values that they transgress each time they try to thwart divine will by deceit and shadow labor. They now have to deal with not only your own immunity to their tactics, but also your proactive participation in thwarting their capacity to hurt anyone else within your enlarged protective zone.